This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Well, great balls of fire, Bubba. What happened, Buford? That crazy son of a Sal blew right through that four-way stop on Main Street and plowed into my cowboy Cadillac.
Your what?
My pickup truck. And I'm pretty sure my leg is broken, Ted.
Oh, quit your bitching, Buford, and talk with those side busters at the Advocates Law Firm. When I got busted up last month, well, shoot, they made sure those snakes at the insurance company played fair.
Boy, howdy. Even that creepy so-and-so Kyle earned his keep.
So if you get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Coming up, we will drink and toast with a shot of the day that it's Bad Choice Friday time.
You know it's Bad Choice Friday.
It's Bad Choice Friday!
You know it's Bad Choice Friday.
Hey, man, this is your fault!
Come on. And today we celebrate the s'more on a Bad Choice Friday with hot chocolate.
I believe in miracles! Where you from? Oh, yeah. You sexy thing, sexy thing.
That's the chocolate portion, you see, of the s'more.
That is correct. See, we're thinking.
Right.
We're thinking.
Well, we couldn't figure out anything for marshmallows. That's why that hot chocolate is taking on Uncle Cracker.
Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
Will it be the cracker or the chocolate?
Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul.
Chocolate.
Apropos.
Yeah.
And he's not, take that any way you'd like. You're
Vote
right.
For the cracker or the chocolate.
Do they make chocolate crackers?
If you follow us on Twitter at Men's Room Live.
I mean, like we put chocolate on crackers. We're like, is there a dip?
Yeah. One of those two tunes coming up right after we drink and toast with a shot of the day.
Touche.
Bad Choice Friday.
That's exactly how that we made a s'more.
Yeah. Being that it's a positive Friday the 13th, you might wonder how some of the common superstitions got started. Here's a little history, if you will. Knocking on wood. This idea came from the ancient civilizations and believed the trees housed various spirits. So touching the tree would give you a protective blessing from those spirits.
I don't know about that. If I'm a tree spirit, like, quit touching me.
There is the black cat crossing your path. In the Middle Ages, black cats were associated with witchcraft and demons, and that snowballed into the idea that if a black cat crossed your path, they were blocking your connection to God and a path to heaven.
I think that's true of any cat.
Mm-hmm. Then we have breaking a mirror. Ancient Romans believed the mirrors held a piece of your soul, and a separate myth said that our body renews itself every 7 years. So those two things helped create the 7 years of bad luck thing. And then, of course, Friday the 13th, nobody knows for sure how it got started, but one theory is that it has biblical origins and is tied to the number of guests at the Last Supper and Jesus' crucifixion.
But specifically Judas.
On Good Friday.
Apparently he was the 13th.
You know the one that, and I know it's just me, and it's back to sports again, but it is the sportscaster jinx. And that is one that I really, truly believe in, especially when you're rooting for your team. And let's just say someone comes out, and whoever the hell it is, they're going to kick a field goal, and the announcer says, this guy hasn't missed inside of 30 his entire career, or whatever the hell. What do you name?
I think kickers get it the worst.
Whatever it is. It's just like, and it never fails, man. As soon as
wide right,
Tom Brady hasn't thrown an interception. Oh, it's picked off. I mean, as soon as they say it, whatever they say, the exact opposite happens.
Well, think about this: the Madden curse, right? You have players that do when they establish a new Madden game, every player goes and checks their stats, and they'll complain they're too slow, they're too fat, whatever it is. But they all agree they do not want to be on the cover. Bad sport. They feel like this is the year either my career or my season ends because of injury, or it's just going to be a bad season.
Red Sox fans, before they won that World Series, they believe for what? How many years?
The curse of the Bambino.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
well, they hadn't won it since 1918.
It had nothing to do with the fact that they sucked. It had to be the curse.
My favorite from the baseball sportscaster is, we've actually gone 7 innings, not a single hit recorded for this team.
Right, exactly.
I also wonder sometimes with kickers, though, do announcers say that more often and we only really hit on it when they miss?
Yes. I think they
You know what I mean?
Because it's
kind of
only
like
at
Thrill
the
always
end
says,
of the game that it matters.
It's like Thrill always says about, it's in the last spot I thought to look.
Right.
Well, of course it is, because that's literally the last spot.
You stopped looking after you found it.
You're not going to keep looking for nothing.
And if you do, you got bigger problems than losing your keys. If it was the last place I looked. Because you found it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you stop looking.
Anything you find is the last place you look.
I hope.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Now, this one, I'll let you be the judge of whether or not it's irrational. I completely understand. This guy says 6 years ago, I was living in Colorado Springs. I was 2 blocks away from this gas station where a chick was trapped between the car and the gas pump by a lady who was texting while pulling into the gas station. She ended up hitting her. Anyways, it caught fire and blew up. So, yeah, needless to say, I no longer stand between the pump and my car. And then they had, thanks for the laughs. That was a very upbeat story.
Thanks for the laughs.
Thanks for the laughs.
Positive Friday.
Positive. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the men's room.
Johnny? That's not... it's Tommy.
Hold on.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Hello, Tommy. Welcome to the men's room.
Boo, bitches!
Boo!
Just a side note, I was born on Friday the 13th, turned 21 on Friday the 13th, so that's awesome.
So, like, when you were in school, so did the elementary school kids, did they get on you about it, anything like that?
Not really, but it's been a fun run.
Okay.
So, my phobia, I am afraid of purses. I won't even try not to go into my mom's purse when she asks for her wallet. It's just a weird... I don't trust that Mary Poppins evilness. I had a girlfriend who had lube and a razor cutter in her purse, and I don't deal with it. I don't want to know it's in there.
Wait, at what age did you realize that the purse was a box of madness?
Around 18.
It's a bag of chaos is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lighters, it's pins, it's hair tie things.
But was it the lube and the box cutter that freaked you out to the point you don't want to reach in there? Or has it always been growing on you that, man, there's something about a purse I just don't trust?
It grew on me, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay.
And I was like, nope, hands up. I'll give you the purse. Don't go in there. I'll hold it by the handle.
Do you have to explain this to women you date? Like if they go, hey, can you just reach in and grab blank? And you're like, no, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Okay.
I have a weird fear of wigs.
Wigs?
Wigs. The room that I used to sleep in when I went to my grandmother's house was where she kept all her wigs. And
she had styrofoam heads?
Had all these busts that were styrofoam heads. And I mean, I'm talking like 25 of them, right? So it looked like a bunch of heads were just looking at you all the time. Even though there were no eyes, it was like a faceless head. But it was just, for whatever reason.
But the wigs are what bothered you?
It was
not all these eyeless faces staring you down.
That was the
hair.
That was, but it was the combination of the two. Like I don't care if Wendy Williams is wearing a wig, and I go, oh God, a wig. I mean, but for whatever reason, just that whole.
Well, what if you dated a woman that wore wigs?
It would be weird. You know what I mean? Not that I would care, but I mean,
yes,
I can fight through anything.
You would.
I can fight through anything.
But say you're in a long-term relationship.
I know something about your dating history.
Yeah.
Say you're in a long-term relationship. At what point are you going to confess, like, babe, I understand either you need to or choose to wear wigs. You have to put them somewhere else.
That's it. It's kind of more where they were stored, I think. And she had like a wig tree, like you'd have a hat tree.
Yeah.
And all these little different pods came out of this thing. So there's this giant thing that looked like it from,
Did your grandmother, because my grandmother did the same thing. Now, granted, they were in her room, so I didn't have to deal with them. But she had wigs for Monday through Friday, and then she also had ones for, say, afternoon, and then evening, and then there were two, like, special, like, if it were real important, like a funeral,
and it was like,
a wedding, like a very specific wig, and you didn't touch that wig unless, but my grandmother, you got so used to her while she's getting ready in the bathroom for 400 hours, like, stay there. Go in my bedroom and grab me the funeral wig. I mean, that's what she called it. And we weren't going to a funeral. We were going to something else that was a proper, but I knew which wig it was.
Yeah, well, like, my grandmother also had basically a mannequin bust of someone who was her size. And beside that was a sewing machine with all her stuff and all her fabrics and all that stuff. So it really looked, I don't know, to me, it just looked like an evil, room where,
decapitated heads.
You make imaginary people, and they got like half clothes on, and I don't know. I just thought it was weird. What is your, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
what about if you see a mannequin now, right? You walk into the store.
Well, mannequins now have nipples and stuff, so I don't care.
No, that's a real Seattle thing.
They got some new, they got perky mannequins.
You ever seen the mannequins down at like Lovers?
It's almost like gravity doesn't exist.
Yes.
Mannequins at Lovers are.
They look like they just took French.
Voluptuous.
They took French people, you know what I mean? And just like used their bodies.
But I've never seen nipples on mannequins till we moved to Seattle. Like most places, it's just rounded, like Barbie, right? Mm-hmm. We moved to Seattle, man, and I just remember walking through downtown, and I don't remember the store, but the mannequin was wearing a dress, and like I walked back because in my mind, I'm like, does she have erect nipples? And then I realized, like, all of the mannequins downtown, I'm like, oh, my God.
That's all like
what the hell?
A house for sale, and they put it on BuzzFeed, because in every room there were, like, mannequins standing around and dolls and stuff. And I mean, it's just like would you buy this creepy-ass house?
No.
It's just because it had mannequins in it.
There is a place I walk by in my neighborhood. It's like I don't know if the guy's running a studio in there or whatever, but you're right. There's full, just white mannequins. Mm-hmm. I never see any people in there. And that one kind of spooks me a little bit.
It is weird.
Could you spend the night in there?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421.
When I say spooks me, it's more like, is there a meth going on in there?
Ah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, something about it is not right. It's like he wants to take photos of people in these clothes, but he just has the mannequins.
Hey, saves money. You know, they demand nothing. Hello, Tanner. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Thanks for having me on, guys. So, my superstition is you find a coin on the ground, heads up, it's good luck, heads down, bad luck.
I'm with you. I won't pick them up if they're on tape.
What is your minimum denomination that you're willing to bend over for?
Oh, I'll pick up a penny. I don't care.
All right, okay.
But I'm with him. I'll pick up a penny on heads, but I'll also walk by a quarter on tails.
Now, here's the thing. I've heard that. I've heard the saying, but what is behind? Is it just because somebody told you the saying and got beaten in your head you won't do it?
Yeah, as a little kid, that's what my grandparents used to tell me. You find it heads up, it's good luck. Pick it up.
My parents are like, you find money, you grab it.
I got a friend who won't walk over grates or any kind of manhole or anything like that.
For fear of falling in?
On the sidewalk. I don't know what it is. I never really, he just like, I can't walk over this.
That makes more sense to me than the people that just won't step on the crack.
Yeah, he won't do grates.
Yeah, the grate, I'm like, okay, I mean, you might fall through the grate. You might. You know, it's a little irrational, but like that makes more sense. Like cracking the sidewalk, I'm like, man, we're downtown, brother. You need to walk on the street if you can't walk over a crack. Or is it don't step on it? I don't know.
He just doesn't walk on it.
I don't. When I was a kid, that was just this, like, don't step on a crack, break your mother's back.
Oh, I had days where I'm like, I'm going out to the sidewalk.
I'm going to crack stepping.
I'm mad at you.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Crack stepping.
Yeah.
That sounds like you just like crawled out of a bad apartment.
Yeah,
like
crack stepping, homie.
Crack stepping.
It's a real easy dance to do.
Right.
Hello, Heather. Welcome to the men's room.
Heather?
Hello?
Heather? Somebody here? Tether?
We'll get back to her. Tether.
I saw him might do the T. No, it's not Heather, it's Tether.
We'll tie her up.
Hello, Brittany. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I have an irrational fear, phobia that's gone since I was a child of tomatoes, like raw, like whole fruit tomatoes.
What do they freak you out? Is it the taste? What is the texture?
Yeah, I actually don't. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of do know what they taste like. Like, I have no problem with like processed stuff, like spaghetti sauce, ketchup, tomato soup. But when it comes to like, yes, like it's like gelatinous and like fetus looking, and I'm just not about that.
So what if, say you're at your average restaurant? I mean, inevitably there are tomatoes in every restaurant you go to, and
sure.
Either someone at your table or maybe the table next to you gets what Ted would love, some lovely bruschetta. And they have slices of tomatoes. Does it freak you out?
Like diced tomatoes?
So once upon a time, yes. So I've developed like better ways to deal with it now, like just familiarizing myself with it. But in the past, yes, I've literally ran out of restaurants or like have cried because it's on my plate. You know,
could you eat pico or like a salsa?
Actually, so for example,
that's kind of on the border.
Kinda. Last night I ate ceviche with a friend, and like I was able to pick like the shrimp and fish out of like the tomatoes that were around it.
Now, if you're going to go out on a date with me, and I say, hey, I'll pick you up at 7. Here's the restaurant I have in mind, and you know that at this restaurant there's plenty of tomato product. Would you confess to me early? Like, listen, this can sound crazy. Tomatoes freak me out. We can't go there.
Oh, absolutely. I'd let you know straight away.
What if you need something that's beside the tomatoes at the grocery store? So, they just happen to have them packaged right next to whatever. You maybe need mushrooms or anything.
So what do you do then? That section. Produce, I used to avoid it all the time where they were like all ready to pick. No, thank you. But now I used to wear gloves to cut them when I had to. Like, it's
right.
Way better now.
You go over to somebody's house. They're having a barbecue. They invite you over. Sure. You go in the backyard. There are 7 big tomato plants there.
Okay with it.
You're okay with it. So it is natural. Actually, as long as it's on the plant, it's okay. It's just when you see it individually. Yeah. Huh.
Yes, it's like as soon as you split it open and it's like chopped up and near me, I'm just no. Like,
has it always been that way, or is there something that happened later in life?
So I think it's fun. Like when I was a child, I did not like eating grapes, and I think the same kind of like fleshy material, like having that skin, just bothered me, and then it like just kept going.
So it's texture. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you eat? How much money would it take for you to pop a cherry tomato in your mouth and eat it?
Oh my God! I don't know if I could ever
Brittany.
do that.
Curse twice.
I did. No, I said the S word once, but yes, I'm shameful. I'm sorry.
You're okay. It's all right.
I'm not shameful. It's just a reaction I have. Sorry.
But $500.
But I do have to let you know, this summer was the first time I've ever tried at a green thumb, and just to kind of combat the whole phobia, I actually planted 7 cherry tomatoes, and they are actually like developing now. So it's kind of like helping my understanding of just like it's just a plant. Get over it.
Now there is a way I think you might enjoy tomatoes that will get. Have you ever had a fried green tomato or
No. And I hear the movie's great, too.
Yeah.
I can't recommend the movie, but Miles is correct. I'm not the biggest fan of tomatoes, but fried green tomatoes are awesome.
I think it's a different texture because it's fried, it's breaded. And
do they have to be green? Can you just do it with red tomatoes?
I think they just fall apart when you bread them.
And I think also, doesn't it have a little different flavor when it's still green? Mm-hmm. It's like bananas, right? Like a green banana tastes way different than a ripe one.
Yeah, plantain, so absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'm glad you shared that, because I would not share that with anyone. That is... That is a strange
Sounds like you went and got help for it, though, if you had to go.
My husband is obsessed with them, so I've had to learn and adapt for the last decade. So
is he sympathetic at all, or is he just like, deal with it, Brittany?
No, he thinks it's completely irrational. He's like, one day you're going to try it. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
He's right. It is irrational. No doubt about that.
There's not a lot of tomato products I don't like. Like, you can't, to me...
I like almost every tomato product except tomatoes.
I don't mind a sliced tomato on, a BLT, a hamburger.
It's not the worst thing. It's just, if it's on my burger... Look, if I get a sandwich, that's really going to show up in my life. And I'll always pull them off. If I don't pull it off because I feel like, I don't know, my once every 10 years try to do something healthy, I can get through it. It's not the worst. But tomato in its real form, to me, is the least appealing way to serve tomato.
Probably right. Yeah, without question.
Salsa, anything. I'm cool.
I would agree
any
with that.
tomato-based product, I'm pretty much down with, besides the soup and the tomato itself.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed.
You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Start summer up by mixing things up with top paint and stain brands at Lowe's. Shop HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, Valspar, Cabot to find the perfect pop of color or classic shade you've been looking for. And don't forget to prep your deck for the season with reliable wood stain and sealer. Now's the perfect time to complete your paint or stain project. Lowe's, all things summer, all at the right price.
99.9 KISW. You're in the men's room.
Coming up, the exciting return of Ted versus the FCC right after emails on our question. What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Here's a strange one. It says, I have the dumbest thing where whenever I'm eating something, I can't eat the last couple bites of it. Doesn't matter what it is, if it's a sandwich, even if it's my favorite thing, I cannot eat the last couple bites of it. Even your favorite thing, man?
Never got a sticker after dinner then, did you?
Ever. No.
I try to save like the last bite to have, like burger, bun, some of the lettuce.
So you get the last
very particular about that.
Bite, one of the better bites.
Correct.
Yeah, because it's your last hurrah, man. It's last call.
But you don't do that with pizza.
No.
I do. Well, sort of.
I mean, do you ever leave a saucy piece with cheese and eat around the crust to get to that last piece?
No, but sometimes I'll stop short of the crust so that I can fold over the cheese and the sauce to kind of help out the crust.
Actually, I did it yesterday. Right. I got the 7-Eleven pizza, and so I got about 3 bites deep as you're working your way up the triangle, and then I kind of assessed my situation, thought, all right, take 2 bites of crust off of either side. I definitely worked my way in. Normally, I don't do that, but with 7-Eleven pizza, seems to the benefit.
Pisses me off whenever you get that big bubble. It takes all the cheese and slides it off.
It's all gone. It's just this naked piece now.
This big crusty bubble. I'm like, no one takes that piece first.
Get the air out of your dough, man.
You know what I mean?
It's always the last slice that's going to be left.
Right, exactly.
I think it depends, though. Like, if it's a joint that's doing like wood fire, I'm like, all right.
It's got like a tumor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It's like a big goiter on its face.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Heather.
Positive Friday?
Positive Friday.
Hello. So, I have a weird phobia because I'm not afraid of spiders. I just coexist with them. Out here there's so many spiders and stuff like that. But I am really afraid of earwigs.
I think on appearance alone, I get it.
They're like so creepy with the little like pinchy things on the top of their heads and like the myth that they crawl in your ear and go into your brain.
Well, what about like a centipede? Is it the general shape or is it earwig specific?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the centipede either, not gonna lie. The caterpillars are cool. Centipedes are pretty freaky, though, but it's the earwigs mostly.
Yeah, I have a buddy of mine. He was never officially my roommate because he never actually lived with us, but he'd spend 6 out of 7 nights a week after he moved out. Anyway, my buddy Tony. And I get home from work one day. He's already there, but he's freaked out and he's sleeping on my bed was the thing. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. You were sleeping on the sofa. And as he explained, he woke up in the middle of the night and there was an earwig crawling across his forehead. And he literally was not okay for about a week. I mean, he could not get past it. I was like, well, where is it now? He's like, I don't know, but I can't be in your home. It's like, damn.
Have you ever heard of a helgamite, Heather?
No.
They're native to the eastern part of
Why are you telling her this?
But they are the super bug of what you're speaking of, but they're about 4 to 5 inches long.
Is it like a June bug?
No.
This thing is like a massive centipede with
huge
ass pinchers on the front of it, on its head. And it can also sting you with its tail. But they're great for fishing because they have such a hard shell that they're live bait, and you can use them and catch. You could use one helgamite and catch 4 different trout with them.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because the bug won't break down like an artificial lure.
Isn't this good news, Heather?
So, but you.
Oh yeah.
But my buddy's dad and my buddy, they keep them in their lip when they fish because they go out and they wade.
Right.
And they put, and therefore they don't need a bait bucket or anything like that. They just put one in each lip.
I'm not a big fan of the fanny pack, but that might be the one time.
Well, they need to be kept moist. So the bugs themselves, they go kind of docile when they get in your mouth. They don't really move or do anything. But if you need bait, you just get in there and pinch it out like you would like a dip. And you put it on your hook, and if you have 3 helgamites, man, you could literally not have to come back out if you're wading and fishing.
Okay, you're espousing all the virtues. Did you ever do that?
I never would put one of those damn things in my lip. I saw them do that, freak me the hell out.
Yeah.
Back when I was in Scouts, we took a whitewater rafting trip that was out, I think, over in Eastern Washington or something like that. But we were going up there. They outfitted us with the wetsuits and the boots and all that stuff, right? Yeah. I'm putting everything on, and a couple of the other Scouts have had this issue as well, where they were putting on one of their boots and an earwig fell out of the doggone thing, right? Yeah. So I did the same thing, and I upended that thing as I was putting it on, and like 2 of them fell out of my boot. I was like, doggone it. But I'm not that guy to go and return it and can I get some new boots? Like, I'm just going to pound it off and make sure that there's nobody else in there. I start pounding that thing, and a family of about 13 of the doggone things just tumbling out of the friggin' shoe. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life.
Bugs don't bother me that bad. I mean, I think the one that freaked me out the most, I think, was when I got leeches all covered over my legs in Canada.
Because they're on you.
Well, it's not the fact that they're on you, but basically what we had to do at the time was we didn't really have anything because we were camping, we were canoeing, and we had a big tub of margarine because that's what we were using to cook with. So that's what they brought because you don't have to refrigerate or anything like that. So we had this big country crock type thing of margarine. Well, you'd cover one of the leeches, and basically what you're trying to do is suffocate them. Then they let go because they can't get any oxygen. All right? But the ones that hadn't been covered yet, they were growing so exponentially fast and filling up with my blood. It was like watching a balloon fill up.
You got that good blood, son?
And I'm just like, oh, and they get in there quick, man, and they start sucking the blood out of you like faster than I did not know that it happens that fast. I understand now why they used them for medical purposes.
Right.
Because I mean they're immediate. Like once they get on you, I mean they are absolutely
good evening.
They are taking a pint of blood as soon as they can if they can. You know?
You are quite tasty, Scout.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Steven. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey guys, hola bitches.
Hola.
I would just say that my biggest fear is driving in rush hour traffic and then some guy who's mad gets out in the middle of the freeway screaming at people, shirtless, and then points a gun at me. Literally just happened like 30 seconds ago.
Where are you driving?
We're driving southbound on I-5, and he got off on the exit to 18.
Did you call the cops?
I was waiting on hold. It literally all just happened 2 seconds ago. I took his photo of his car, so I will call the police.
So it's at 18, you mean where the Auburn exit, right?
Yeah, he got off on the Auburn exit.
Which direction?
Was he mad at everybody or just you?
No, I don't know. He was mad at someone else. And I just happened to be the next car that passed him, and he pointed his gun. He was like, yeah, like, what are you going to do, dude?
Were you in the southbound lane? Is he taking off toward the Clover Loop, or are you in the northbound lane?
So I was in the southbound lanes, and yeah, he got off.
So he's off. He's doing that. Yeah, that clover leaf they have there. All right. Okay. Well, that's. Anyway, I would have a fear of that anyway.
Yeah, nobody likes that. But anyway, so I had a big story, but I wanted to tell you about the penny thing.
The penny. Oh, face up, pick it up, face down. Don't.
So growing up, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. So after school, me and my dad would go walk parking lots. We'd just pick up change, pick up any money we found, fill it all up, and that would be our. Unbeknownst to me until I got older, it was our Christmas money. So as we're walking, he would always tell me, he's like, if you pick one up that's on sale, it's holding the good luck in. So you take that, and then I kid you not, my whole house growing up, we had pennies on every door lip where the trim is, face down, because it would put the luck onto you going through the doorway.
Did you guys have a metal detector or anything, or were you literally just bent over walking around?
Yeah, literally just walk parking lots for about an hour or two every day.
Okay. All right.
I guess you guys got to know each other well. Jesus.
Yeah. He's a great man.
Wow. And that is your Christmas. Yeah, I would not tell my kid that at the time.
Right.
For sure.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Here's one that says lawn gnomes. They should not exist. So with the lawn gnome, I understand. Look, if it freaks you out, it freaks you out. So don't go to the garden center of any shop, right? But when was it Travelocity? Yeah. When that dude pops up, like, does it bother you? Do you have a real visceral reaction?
They use Expedia, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, when the commercial comes up, because there's things I don't like. But if you show me a spider in a commercial, it does not bother me because it's not physically present. I can watch a whole nature documentary about them, right? It won't bother me. It just reconfirms that I'm right. They are monsters. But I'm just wondering, if you watch that Travelocity commercial and the garden gnome pops up, like, does it freak you the hell out? Just curious to know.
That's a good question. I guess if you don't like them, it would.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I don't like spiders, but I don't mind seeing them on TV. You know, I watched the whole program about making the webs. This is what they do, how they lay eggs, how they kill the prey. And it's fascinating. I just don't want to interact with them.
See, I don't watch too many snakes on TV.
snake people are different. Like, my wife's terrified of snakes, and my kids do not understand the gravity of her fear. So anytime there's a snake on TV, they try to make it a point to call her into the living room. Oh. And, no, listen, I've even told them, guys, listen to me. Your mother's a sweet woman. She will kill you. Like, if you intentionally call. And anytime we're watching something, if a snake pops up on TV for whatever the plot twist is or whatever, she just looks down. She can listen, but she will not look up, and she says, just tell me when it's done. There was a couple of years ago, we were in Mexico, and the bartender kept asking me if my wife was okay, because it's a bar, and they had 4 different TV screens up, but they were all on the same channel, and it was a nature documentary, and they were going through 10 different animals that blank, but snakes were one of them. So, for like 3 minutes, there's nothing but snakes on the screen, and it didn't matter where she looked, because each wall had this big-ass TV with snakes on it. So she's just looking down and has her face in her hands, and the bartender keeps looking at me, and I'm like, bro, just give it a second. Give it a second. And finally I told her, I'm like, hey, man, they're on to antelope now or whatever. She looks back up, and I'm like, she's scared of snakes. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I was like, she could not look anywhere, because everywhere she looked, she saw them, and it freaks her the hell out.
Damn. What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Zane. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right. So my fear is in the early mid-2000s, I watched Final Destination 2. If you've seen it, you probably know how this goes down. I do not like being behind like 18-wheelers or trucks loaded with stuff, like logs or cars or anything. I mean, so I will get in the other lane on the interstate if I come across those.
I don't think anyone loves it. I don't have a particular fear of it, but you're saying the movie ruined you on that. Do you think you'd be okay if you did not see Final Destination 2?
For sure.
What if you got... I mean, that movie, that's like a funny meme going around right now. It's like that movie basically ruined a whole generation.
On a lot of things.
That everybody's convinced they're never secure, and you're going to die if you're behind.
What if you're between two of them? In other words, I mean, you're right in the middle of two 18-wheelers.
If there's 2 of them, it's the lesser of 2 evils. I'm going to pick... I think I can dodge a car, but I don't know if I can dodge like 12 logs.
Well, you don't want to go to Oregon, man, because that's all those roads are full of. That is a fact. And you cannot believe how many logs they put on there and how big they are. You're like, oh my God, how do they secure that on there?
That's West Coast.
It doesn't even
East Coast, you'd say a logging truck, but the trees just do not get as big there. So, I don't know, it looked like glorified firewood on the back of an East Coast logging truck, right? And I mean, still, those logs roll off. It's dumb, but yeah, the logs I see on trucks here, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
When I was down close to Coos Bay in Oregon, there was a truck that I think I told you guys about that had turned over a logging truck. So they had one lane open. Police were allowing people to come through either side, that kind of thing. But you had to drive right through this thing. Of course, they have a tarp over,
Oh, geez.
So it's one of those deals. But the logs that fell from that, I looked at that and I thought, how are they going to get these things off the road?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what machine do you have?
The one that put them on?
I know, but I would have to think that's I can't imagine that is not hard secured into the ground to do it. Like a crane would have to.
Right. Just for the weight.
I don't know how you could just pick that up randomly with something that's not anchored to the ground. So I guess they bring in another truck and pick them up. But I was like, Jesus, this is going to take forever.
In my experience, you call movers.
What is your superstition? Unnecessary fear or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hola. Doing well.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller, actually first-time getting through, so thanks for taking the call.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I had a superstition, and I used to be a first responder. I was a firefighter and an EMT, and you will not meet a more superstitious group. Everyone had their certain little things that they would do to avoid getting calls or to avoid certain calls.
Like what kinds of calls did you want to avoid?
Oh, the guy that was masturbating with random chemicals that he found and
put me on that call. That's the one I want. I want to see the dumbass.
For some people, that was the calls they wanted.
Okay.
But for me, those were the calls I avoided.
Fair enough.
Okay. I didn't know you had a choice. I just figured if they tell you to go someplace, you got to go.
For the most part, that is true, but some guys would try to jump other calls if they sounded exciting. They would try to get there first and whatnot.
Okay.
But for me, I always found we work 24-hour shifts, so you try to get as much sleep as you can. Some nights you couldn't get any. And I would find that as soon as I would take my boots off and try to get in bed, boom, we'd get a call. So there were lots of nights where I would sleep fully dressed, boots on and all, and get a full night's sleep that way.
How long did it take you to piece that together?
Too long. Definitely too long.
Yeah, you know, man, you're right. Stuff like that happens all the time. It's just, you know, I mean, look, I ordered this. Oh God, this sounds so stupid. I ordered this golf umbrella because it gets so hot to where I go play, and I thought it was going to be really hot. The weekend's coming up in August. Of course, I waited to the end of the year, but it's like a heat reflectant umbrella. All right. So when you're walking, you know, I mean, you put this thing up, and it's a silver umbrella. Right. And, you know, it deflects the sun.
Don't make birds explode.
Cooling mode and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, man.
It has a cooling mode?
Well, it's like vented and stuff like that.
Does it have a mister?
Yeah, I paid $50. I wish it did. I paid $50 for this damn thing, right? So when they delivered it, and it took a couple weeks, when they delivered it the other day, they knock on the door, I open the door, and this was last Thursday, and it's raining. You know, and here's my sun umbrella. You know, it hadn't rained in 3.5
Does it not work for rain?
It would work fine for rain, but it's designed for the sun. But of course, the first day in 3.5 months, you know, that it rains in my neighborhood is when I get the umbrella that's meant for the sun.
Here you go, your sun umbrella.
Ah, thanks.
It's like the touchdown when you go to the bathroom.
Oh, well, yeah, guaranteed,
exactly.
Right? Guaranteed.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK. And it's always a great touchdown because you feel like you left at the right time where you wouldn't miss anything. They're at the 20.
They had to drive 98
yards. They got 8 yards to go.
And there's only 8 seconds left. The game's over.
Interception return for a touchdown. It's always something that you wouldn't predict. Like, we can't go. If you're at the 10-yard line, you're like, I'm going to wait to go pee. You know what I mean? But that's you make a logical decision.
In 37,
right, exactly.
With 10 seconds left, they're down at their own 8. Like, hey, I'm going to go grab a beer. And then everyone screams and like, you missed the greatest play in NFL history.
It's like the 43rd minute, right? You're like, I'll just get there before halftime real quick. I mean, they're not going to score in a minute and a half. Boom! You know, cannons go off.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Same thing.
I was like, 1-0, we're fine. It's almost the 90th minute. Dallas tied it up.
Yeah.
Like, as you're walking out, you just hear that groan from the crowd. Like, yeah.
But aren't you kind of glad you didn't see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would rather... I'm okay not seeing the other team break my heart. Like, I'm glad I didn't I'm still upset, but at least I didn't see it.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the men's room.
Happy Friday, fellas.
Friday.
Well, my unnecessary fear is I am deathly afraid of crickets.
Brother, tell me you live, like, in an apartment downtown.
No, I live in the outskirts of Kirkland.
So, do you...
Sounds like a lot of crickets.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, you're surrounded by Satan everywhere, right?
You know, it's a funny story. It was funny to my mother when it happened. It terrified me forever. I was like 3 years old. We living in, the boonies of Colorado. I fell off the porch, and there were like to a 3-year-old, that's like millions of crickets. And like maybe like 4 or 5 of them were just like crawling up my little legs and my arms. And that, according to my mother's hilarious story, I'm running around screaming at the top of my lungs because their little bitty feet are like digging in with their little needle claws and stuff. And to this day, I just cannot. Listening to them, beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah,
okay, you just don't want to see them.
I will say this, you live in the right part of the country not to deal with them with the frequency of most people. Because in warmer climates a little bit, I mean, on the East Coast, we had grasshoppers that were like 3 to 4 inches long. I mean, huge-ass grasshoppers. Crickets were everywhere. They're in everybody's basement. They'd make noise. You couldn't find them. If you turned on the light, they'd stop and freeze.
I'm going to be honest. I forgot about crickets. A week and a half ago, I was on the East Coast. I'm visiting my aunt. And it's not like she lives out in the boonies by any means, but I went out to smoke a cigarette, and she just lives in the neighborhood. Standard, houses, lawns, whatever. There were so many goddamn crickets. I mean, it was so loud. I'm like, holy crap, I forgot that they exist.
And make the same kind of noise as bullfrogs do, too. So sometimes you don't know if you're listening to frogs or you're listening to crickets, but it's like white noise.
Actually, crickets. But I feel like frogs kind of do the frog thing, whereas crickets burp or chirp.
No, there's some frogs that when they chirp, it's real high pitch like that.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
So you wouldn't know. And I think part of it might be the mechanism to draw crickets in so that they can eat them.
And no fireflies here.
No firefly. The other thing my aunt told me, and again, and Ted, you grew up around where she is in Oxon Hill, Maryland, right?
Yeah.
So she has a double door in the front of her house. Not too wide, but like a storm door than the front door. And she said, look, when you go out to smoke, just do me a favor. Don't worry about the door into the house, but the outside door. make sure it's closed. I'm like, okay. And she said, because I don't want that goddamn lizard getting into my house again. And this is Maryland. And I mean, I'm sure there's lizards everywhere, but I'm like, wait, what? And her son was like, yeah, he keeps getting in the house. The lady down the street had like a lizard invasion. I'm like, you guys have lizards in suburban D.C.? Like, she's like, they're all over the place. Like, they get in people's houses. And I had no idea.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely snakes, but I don't remember small lizards. But also, I don't remember bald eagles, and they're back there now, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I never saw one in my life until we moved out here.
Mm-hmm.
But either had I.
No.
We would go to the National Zoo to see a bald eagle.
I know. Yeah. Here, you just look up, like, there's one.
But that doesn't surprise me. As warm as things are getting, I'm sure those lizards are just moving north.
I guess, man. They were serious. Don't let that lizard get in my house.
What is your superstition, unnecessary fear, or phobia? 206-421-ROCK.
But every house I grew up in, I only grew up in one, but you always had two doors. Like, my cousins had two doors, we had two doors, all my friends' parents had two doors. Like, you had to have that.
For security, generally.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I would say, come on. I understand that game. Hello, Jen. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I consider this a necessary fear. I am terrified of E.T., the extraterrestrial.
Not to be confused with E.T. Eddie Thomas down the street.
Well, it freaks me out to even say it because, like, I feel like he can hear me and will come visit me.
But he was nice. He was a good guy.
He brings Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he was slaughtering people, man. I mean, dude lit up his finger, healed things, brought plants back to life, took a kid across the moon on his bike. I mean, like, what's not to like about E.T.?
Elliot.
You guys are really making my heart beat really fast right now.
Oh, no.
Did you see E.T. as a child and it freaked you out? You haven't gotten over it, or what?
I did see it as a child, and my parents took us to Universal Studios, and he said my name, and I cannot see him ever again.
Did you ride the E.T. ride at Universal Studios, where you get on the bike and do all that?
That's what they did. It was horrible.
And is he like in a basket in front of you, or what?
Yes, and at the end, they say your name. He said my name.
Jan.
Oh, my God.
Do you want to go on a date?
I actually thought that was a pretty interesting ride.
Jan.
You get on a bike and they fly you through the sky. Yeah.
Hey, Jen, do you know what E.T. is little for, or short for?
You mean like the acronym?
Right, do you know what E.T. is short for?
Extraterrestrial.
He's got little legs. See, we can have fun with this.
Still to come, the exciting return of Ted versus the FCC, and your emails on the way next to the men's room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.